Let's go Lions! In the last few hours, we've received news that could completely redefine the team's future. Dan Campbell and the Lions front office have set a bold new direction that signals not only their intention to dominate the defense next season, but also to transform their offensive approach in the draft. I'll get into all the details in a moment, but first make sure you've already hit the like button if you agree with me that the Detroit Lions will make it to the next Super Bowl. If possible, comment something like this: "Go Campbell! Go Goff! We believe in you!" Buckle up because this is one of the most crucial off-seasons in recent memory. The Detroit Lions are in the market for one of the best pass rushers in this year's NFL draft, and they have officially met with one of the most intriguing names in the class, Marshall's Mike Green. Green led the entire FBS in sacks last season with an impressive 17 and is one of the most explosive edge rushers available. Pairing him with Aiden Hutchinson on that defensive line? That could be a nightmare for opposing quarterbacks. Green himself seemed pretty excited about the idea of joining the Lions. When asked about playing alongside Hutchinson, he didn't hold back. "It would be a pleasure. Aiden's a great guy. I've heard a lot about him. He's a great player, too. I know he's recovering from something right now, but I hope he gets back on the field soon, and he'd be a pleasure to play anywhere." Now, there's a lot to like about Green's game. He's quick off the line, relentless in pursuit, and has that motor that never stops. But, as always, there's more to the story. Green has had some off-field concerns that NFL teams are investigating. Specifically, he left Virginia after a suspension related to a sexual assault allegation. He has denied all allegations, has never been charged with a crime, and has been open with teams about the situation. "There's a lot of talk out there, it's just a bunch of people who don't really know what happened," Green said. "I've never done anything wrong. I've never been accused of anything. My main focus is to tell these teams everything they need and want to know. It's a little frustrating online to see that everyone has everything to say, and that's not the case. I'm going to continue to follow the process, and I'm confident in myself and the way I've handled this process." And despite the controversy, Green's draft stock keeps climbing. He was already on scouts' radar, but after a standout week at the Senior Bowl, he's now projected as a potential top 10 pick in several mock drafts. Green himself isn't worried about how teams will perceive his past. "I'm not worried at all. As you can see, throughout this process, I've been rising higher and higher and higher. That should tell you everything you need to know," Green noted. "I've been sticking to the process, and I've been telling the truth. I have no concerns about it, and I have no problem with talking to teams about it because I know who I am, and I know the truth." The Lions took the time to meet with Green at the NFL Combine, where he had a chance to sit down with Detroit's new defensive coordinator, Kelvin Shepard. Green came away from that meeting impressed, and it sounds like there was a solid connection between the two. "He's a great guy. How can you not like him?" Green said. "All these teams are doing a great job of getting to know you, getting to know your background and show you what you can do. And show you the potential that you can be with their team. It was definitely a blessing to meet with him. So now the question is, should the Lions take the risk? There's no doubt Green is an elite talent, and putting him opposite Hutchinson could take Detroit's pass rush to the next level. But with the off-the-field concerns, will Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell feel comfortable making that move? Lions fans, this is where I want to hear from you. Do you think Mike Green is worth the risk? Should the Lions use their first-round pick on him, or should they look elsewhere? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Aiden Hutchinson had a bold vision, teaming up with one of the most dominant pass rushers in the game, Myles Garrett. Imagine that duo terrorizing quarterbacks, wreaking havoc on offensive lines. It's an exciting thought, right? Well, unfortunately, it looks like that dream might not become reality. Lions general manager Brad Holmes delivered some news that Hutchinson, and a lot of us, probably didn't want to hear. While speaking at the NFL Combine, Holmes made it clear that acquiring a superstar pass rusher this offseason is highly unlikely. His exact words? "It's hard. There's not a lot of those guys available. Those guys are hard to find, you know? That's why it's called a premium position. Those guys are hard to acquire, and it's hard to keep them financially. So, even if Myles Garrett wants out of Cleveland, even if he wants to join a real contender like the Lions, it's not that simple. He's under contract through 2026, and Browns GM Andrew Berry made it crystal clear that trading Garrett is not on the table, at least, not anytime soon. From a financial standpoint, it's also tricky. Hutchinson himself is approaching contract extension talks, and Holmes acknowledged that the team is already planning for that. If you're going to lock in Hutch for the long haul, adding another massive contract like Garrett's might not be realistic. Of course, some analysts think the Browns could change their tune before the 2025 draft, maybe even move Garrett to the highest bidder. But for now, it seems like we can put the brakes on those trade rumors. Still, what do you guys think? Would you want the Lions to go all in for Garrett, even if it meant a massive contract hit? Drop your thoughts in the comments. But that's not the only headline coming out of the Combine. Former Lions offensive coordinator, now Chicago Bears head coach, Ben Johnson made some comments that rubbed Lions players the wrong way, especially safety Kerby Joseph. During his first press conference with the Bears, Johnson talked about how excited he is to work with potential number 1 overall pick Caleb Williams. Seems innocent enough, right? But it was this part of his statement that caught people's attention. The out of structure, the off schedule, the creation, that's what stands out the most because that's really the way this league's going right now, it seems like. As much as you want to make it pure progression, 1 to 2 to 3, there's just too much variety. The pass rush is coming down, and to have an athlete like Caleb extend the play and potentially find an explosive down the field, that's what gets me going a little bit. I get excited thinking about that because I haven't really been around that since I've been in the league. But I've been on the other side, and I have experienced it, and it's demoralizing when you're on the other side, and you're watching that happen to your defense. Now, Lions fans, let's break this down. Johnson says he's never really been around a quarterback like Caleb Williams before. But he's coached Jared Goff for years. So what's he trying to say? And then there's that last part, he talks about how demoralizing it is to watch an offense like that torch a defense. And what defense has Johnson been around recently? That's right, ours. Kerby Joseph didn't take kindly to those words and responded with some not-so-subtle social media posts. And he wasn't the only one. Quarterback Amick Robertson had something to say too, making it clear that the Lions' defense isn't going to forget about this. Now, was this an intentional dig at Goff and the defense? Or was Johnson just hyping up his new quarterback and misspoke? Either way, the damage is done. And you better believe that when the Lions and Bears face off next season, Detroit's defense is going to have some extra motivation. Alright, Lions fans, let's hear it from you. Should the Lions push for a blockbuster trade and try to land Myles Garrett? And do you think Ben Johnson disrespected Goff and the defense, or is this being blown out of proportion? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And before you go, don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss a breaking update on your Detroit Lions. Go Lions!